Camera 1.
Camera 2.
Camera 1.
Camera 2.
Hey everybody! I'm Z to the O to the FPV. I've got my friend Skylar, aka FPV via Meteor. FPV via Meteor?
Via Meteor's fine.
Via Meteor. He's actually been helping me out a lot lately with filming. Got some great content lined up for my channel right now that I have an editor helping me actually create. I've got some BMX footage where I was out at a track with some very talented kids and someone who is known to be training for the Olympics in BMX. So check out that footage, as well as a video on simulator versus real life and the differences using the brand new simulator called Acro, which I'm super stoked about. And I can read chat. I have to turn my head to read it, but I can see you guys chatting away. And then also you might see in the background my other friends, Ho Ho You No, aka Serenu, just kind of hanging out on a Friday. I was hoping Crystal was going to be here, but she's not feeling good. And so because of that, it's probably going to be a shorter stream tonight. I want to answer some questions regarding Outcast drone racing, and kind of answer any questions going on. So there's been a lot of developments lately. I haven't made a video regarding Outcast in a month. Yeah, no, it's been about a month. And so that's why this podcast thing, like when we started the Outcast podcast, we had a whole studio built around it. And now, because of COVID, I'm kind of doing it in my home, even though I've got this ugly mug sitting next to me without a mask on. I didn't really know how you do that. We hang out a lot. It's one of my very close friends, and that's the reason why we're in this close proximity together. Actually, Skylar and Serena and Michael and I, we tend to stream and play video games together every week on Tuesday night. I actually am starting to stream that on my second channel, which I don't have a link for. And now that's the thing. So now I'm getting into streaming some games. Not on my primary channel. I'll start linking to my secondary channel sooner than later. It's listed under Zoe Stumbot. It has like no subscribers. But yeah, this is my game fam. And Skylar is a pretty damn good pilot, a good videographer.
Well, thank you.
And you'll see a lot more of him on my channel going forward. But yeah, so I want to talk about some exciting stuff for Outcast Droneworks. This is the Outcast Podcast, not just the Zoe Podcast. First and foremost, we have a couple interesting little things here. You may see this. This is carbon fiber. This is a carbon fiber Microhawk that was produced solely here in San Diego. This is carbon fiber plate that was actually made by Outcast Droneworks, cut out by Outcast Droneworks. We're going into full production next week for our own Microhawk frames. We're also going to start producing the unicorn frame here in San Diego, which I think is a pretty big deal. On top of that, I'm working on with T-Motor to start carrying the T-Motor 20x20 F7 stacks for the Microhawk and the unicorn. I'm going to be testing it out on the unicorn to make sure it's up to snuff and can handle my 3D abuse. But I think it's going to be pretty good. But this is special. This looks really rough. Why does it look so rough? Because this is a Kevlar drone frame. And this is the first prototype. It hasn't been finished. We haven't cleaned up the edges. It's just as it comes out of our CNC machine. And this is actually the biggest thing. So we've, since this one, we've actually upgraded the way we make the plates. We make them more resinous, so they tend to be less flexible and a little bit more durable. And on top of that, we're pioneering ways to cut Kevlar to get rid of the fuzziness on the edges when we cut them out, so it's a much cleaner cut. But yeah, you're probably asking, why Kevlar, Zoe? Well, it's bulletproof, which is kind of cool. And the biggest thing, though, is that carbon fiber is conductive. If you're flying really long range, like especially with the Outcast batteries, you can get up to 20 minutes of flight time, which means several miles of range. If you are far away from you and your drone physically is between you and your antenna setup, it's going to cause a little bit of attenuation and actually cause your RF signal not be as strong. Kevlar, though, does not. Your RF signal will actually pass through the frame and give you better signal at a distance. And as XJet says, hey XJet, it needs manscaping. Yeah, it needs some TLC. But and that's the thing, we've perfected our carbon cutting. Like this one just came out straight out of the carbon cutter or of our CNC machine without any cleanup. We have some cleaner frames. This was actually a 6mm prototype of the Microhawk because we wanted to make an absolute tank. Can't break that. And we're probably going to be going with a 4mm and a 5mm version. And again, we're probably going to open up production to other people. If people out there that want a frame made entirely in the U.S., meaning carbon fiber manufactured and the actual frame cut out, we will start having services in the future. Not sure exactly when, because again, we're perfecting things still, for other people to have their frames cut out by us. One-offs to production. I think it's really cool to be able to offer that because realistically, there's several people in the United States that cut frames, but most, if not all of them, use Chinese carbon fiber. And that should make us one of, if not the only manufacturer of carbon fiber and cutting in the United States, which I'm super stoked about. But yeah, carbon fiber frames and Kevlar. And that's Miss Crystal. Hey Crystal, you're live on the podcast. Say something. Oh, she just hung up. Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, Crystal isn't feeling well. I'm hoping she's feeling better. But anyways, moving on, I'm going to show you guys a quick video of something else we've been working on. So I know a lot of you are into HD. Hey, Phantom FPV. Hey, Brian Holt. And we just got Pete. We got Bulls FPV. Mike's camping. Hey, Mike. 3D Drone Park. And Prince FPV and several others. Hey, oh my God, Little A's in chat. Hey, Little A, I miss you. Call me. Let's hang out. And Sword FPV. How does Kevlar hold up against carbon fiber? Just real quick. Kevlar is a little different. This one, we weren't really happy with the strength of it. It's a little bit more bendable. But we've noticed that if the arms do bend, it bends right back into place. So while it doesn't have the same stiffness as carbon fiber, it tends to have a little bit more durability. And it's way lighter. Actually, Kevlar frames are a third lighter. So let's say if a frame is 10 grams, a Kevlar frame is going to be like 6 grams. So it does actually make a huge difference in weight, which does add to flight performance. Yeah, and delamination is the biggest with Kevlar. Yeah, I know that we've been... this is the thing with Kevlar. We've actually been testing out our Kevlar weaves and making sure that we can produce the highest quality with the least amount of issues like delamination. Like our latest plate of Kevlar is twice as stiff, uses way more resin, and feels a lot like carbon fiber when it comes out of the mold. So... yeah, and we're getting into drone storms. So I have a few other things that we've been working on that I'm excited to share. But first and foremost, let's talk about the HD Microhawk. Oh wow, we've actually had people donate in chat. Thank you for the donations, peoples. I didn't realize we had any kind of chat revenue. I still don't have access to any of the chat revenue either. It's stuck in a Google account somewhere, and I haven't been able to get it out. So there's like hundreds of dollars just sitting there that I can't touch. Let's just get you the post. Let's see if I can switch out to my desktop. Oh, hey, we're in a smaller box now. That's fun. So this is a video that we just released. This is on Red Cowboy 33, aka Larry, my boss's channel. This is a Microhawk flying HD with our 2-cell pack, running a brand new T-motor stack. And the cool thing is, this is running a modern T-motor stack. So the one that we've been using is an F4 board with BL Heli SESCs, so it's a little dated. This one has a built-in regulator for the DJI Caddx Vista and the actual air unit. If you wanted to use an air unit, obviously Caddx Vista is going to fit a lot better on something like this. 2-cell battery, a lot of the boards that we've been using, like for example, if you hook up the 2-cell battery directly to the Vista, the Vista will cut out at lower voltages on the lithium-ion cells because it does not go down to the voltage that you need. So with this, you have a regulator on board, so it actually regulates the voltage for the Vista, so you can get full performance out of the battery. We're bringing it down at 2.9 volts per cell, so we're getting pretty much all of the battery use out of it. And because it's BL-Heli32 running a modern F7 processor, we get all the juicy filtering and all the high or low loop times that people actually like. So performance-wise, it's a lot better. And that's something we're going to be offering very soon. I'm going to be working with T-Motor for us to start carrying the stacks at Outcast Droneworks. And I'm actually looking at using the same stack in the Unicorn. It's a 40 amp ESC, and I've been using a 40 amp ESC to fly 3D now for about a year and a half. So it'd be kind of cool to have the Catexista plus this 20 by 20 stack on the Unicorn for an ultralight 3D setup, which I'm pretty excited about, actually. And so yeah, the other thing with the Unicorn is I've been developing a few 3D printed parts for it. I have a brand new Hero 8 case that I've built from the ground up. A lot of people, I don't know if I have one lying around right now, unfortunately. No, I do not. Wish I did. But the new case is built from the ground up. I actually modeled the GoPro Hero 8 in Fusion 360 and then made a case around the modeled 8. And it fits like a glove. So that was a project I worked on last week. And basically getting that done so I can re-release the Unicorn. The special edition Unicorn, we're trying to work on it, is going to have purple carbon fiber, using some dyes to make the carbon fiber purple. And then the rail, the top rail, is actually going to be changed into aluminum. So changing up the materials a little bit to make it a little bit more durable, a little bit higher quality. And then I'm working with T-Motor right now to get some 2010 purple motors, Zoe motors, made for the Unicorn itself, and hopefully start offering some pre-builts. And that's actually one of the other things we're working on right now is we got a bunch of stuff on order for another huge batch of MicroHawk kits. We still have a few kits in stock right now, but like we've blasted through our stock. Like I've been really surprised by how many kits we've been selling. And so we're getting a lot more kits in stock, and we're going to be offering a build service for $100. You'll be able to get your MicroHawk built out by a professional here in San Diego. And we won't really be taking a cut of that. We're just going to be basically passing the build fee on to the builders. Because I know some people don't like to build. And same thing goes for the Unicorn. We're going to be releasing an RTF, or basically a bind and fly Unicorn, that you can either buy as a part kit or you can get pre-built, and have a pre-built, pre-tuned 3D machine from, the Queen herself, which I am pretty excited for. So yeah, Bob or Rob W says, Zoe, your brain power is magnificent. Brian Holt, the Kevlar, the Kevlar doesn't take well to the dyeing. The purple that we're using in this is going to make it really dark, but it's still better than black, and I kind of want purple. So it'll be a purple Unicorn, purple people eater edition maybe. But yeah, so actually, one of my goals is personally have a Unicorn that is made out of the Kevlar, but because it's so hard to produce, it's going to be extremely expensive and essentially one-off. So if people want that, we'll probably offer it, but we'll produce it on demand because it's going to be ridiculously expensive to actually make and manufacture, and not something we'll offer traditionally. Now the MicroHawk, we'll have a few of these in stock at the higher price tag. And again, this is going to be for more the professional that wants to go long range, wants clean video, and doesn't want to have RF interference and have a little less weight to deal with. So it's kind of like the long range edition. Actually, we're trying to make this quote unquote military grade. And then we'll have our professional grade carbon fiber, which is what we use for our new frames. So yeah, this is cool. I'm excited about this. It'd be nice to have one stack that we can carry that'll work for 5-inch and or 2-inch. And the funny thing is, the stack, I wasn't sure it was going to work because it's rated for 4-cell to 6-cell, And we had no idea if it'd even work on 2-cell, but after testing, the stack works beautifully on 2-cell, which blew our minds because I was very skeptical it was actually going to work out. So the fact that we have a stack that works from 2-cell to 6-cell is pretty freaking magnificent. Rob, Debbie just said I just I just idle blushed. Thank you. Hey Brian. Hey Revision 4, Distort FPV. Welcome to the chat. Hey everybody. Again, if you have any questions about this stuff, I will be progressively checking chat. And the stream wasn't really announced ahead of time, so if you're joining us today, thank you for being here. And I'm going to try to keep this one really short, even though we're going on 16 minutes. But yeah, so, and then other things with the Microhawk project. So we're really heavy into the Pi development right now. We have a new project that we're working on to build a ground control station built into the Pi. So the Pi will have telemetry going out to the ground control station using Python, and then the ground control station will also have a Pi / will work over Wi-Fi as a web server. So you can actually use your phone to control the Pi and the drone remotely. So that's a project we're working on, and hopefully we'll have it done sooner than later. And the whole thing will be open sourced, so people can actually download the code, change it, modify it, use it for their own projects. And on top of that, we are also in development with the telemetry module that we'll be sending out to every MakerKit purchaser. And the telemetry module will actually be good up to 20 kilometers, which is a huge freaking distance. Like the current one that we were testing was good up to maybe like 150 feet before it cut out, which is not very useful for anything. And so that's why we endeavored to create our own that'll go, the full distance of 20 plus kilometers, which is freaking crazy. And it's low powered. It'll be fairly cheap actually to produce, so I'm pretty excited for that. But the telemetry module will probably take a few months before we perfect it and get that out to everybody. Yeah, and so again, going back to the Pi stuff, the cool thing with the Pi stuff that we're working on is there's a few components. So we're building out this ecosystem with it. The first step is to get the telemetry working with the Pis properly, which we got most of that done already. Having the ground control station set up so it's in a web browser, so anybody can view it on any computer. You connect to it over Wi-Fi, and boom, you're in. Actually, are you allowed to use kilometers in the USA? Are U.S. kilometers the same size as international ones? Hey now, okay, on that note, I was working on a project where half the measurements were in imperial and the other half were in metric, and never before in my life did I appreciate how much I love metric over the imperial system. Like, imperial system makes zero sense when it comes to actually doing anything remotely design-wise. So yeah, going back to the software developing out, the long-term goal with it is actually to make it web-based, and then there's a project for VR. We're actually working on headset support eventually. This is, again, down the line. Maybe a year from now is the goal for this, to where you can bring in your ground control interface into VR and use it to control multiple drones in a swarm simultaneously. And all that will be open-sourced. And that's, I think, is pretty exciting because you'll be able to use the controllers, and if we can get the stereoscopic cameras working, you'll actually have a 3D flight vision. Now, the biggest thing is the video feed is right now kind of choppy, but because you're in the VR world and the VR world is stable, it's just kind of displaying a screen in the VR world of the FPV display, so it's not as disorienting as I initially thought it was going to be. And we're working on OpenHD, and OpenHD is an open source HD streaming solution right now. That's not something that Outcast started, but something that Outcast is hoping to support / use in the future. So yeah, it's a big project, trying to make it a platform for ground control station, be able to use swarming, have the Microhawks talk to each other over, local Wi-Fi telemetry and our telemetry modules, and essentially building out this back-end ecosystem that I'm really excited about. And a lot of that work is being done by Larry and a couple others within Outcast Droneworks. I am just the front-end engineer. I do the power systems, I do the frame designs, I do a lot of the marketing and front-end things, but I'm starting to get into the back end of it as well. And I have a couple projects I want to use the Pi for. So, and on that note, videos. People have been expecting part 2 and 3 of the build video. Skylar's actually started helping me film smaller breakout videos, because what I've noticed is a lot of people have questions on very specific things. So we filmed like a video on the GPS, for example. It's like 2 minutes long. It just talks about what the GP is and how to hook it up. That's it. It's like straight to the point, answers questions, and it's very clear and concise. And that's what we're going to do going forward, is going to break everything down into its core elements and turn it into a series and playlist on our YouTube channel. That'll break everything down, and that way, as we have new projects or new things that are associated with it, we can just push those to the Outcast Droneworks channel. So we have the first couple videos filmed. I tried filming by myself a couple weeks ago, and it just failed horribly. And I was like, "Boss, I need someone to help me film." And then Skylar was like, "Hey, I got free time. Do you have some beer? I'm down to drink some beer and help you film."
I'll do just about anything for a free White Claw or seltzer-like item.
Corona Seltzer, the drink of Outcast Droneworks.
Drone harder.
So yeah, that covers the majority of what we're doing at Outcast. We also have Outcast.academy, our new website that's going up. It's a little buggy, but we have a full wiki, we have forms, we have a support ticket portal. I'm going to be adding a lot of the videos that I talked about into the Outcast.academy website, and kind of making that the home for a lot of the videos. And that way, if people have questions, they go on there. If you have a project you're working on and you want to add it to the wiki, go for it. This isn't just about, Outcast Droneworks products. We want to make a community for people doing Pi-based drone projects in general, because a lot of what we're doing with Outcast is open sourced and can be used on other platforms. And that's the beauty of it, is we're trying to help support this new community of flying robots that I think is pretty freaking amazing. So yeah, if you guys want to join that, we have a contest right now. People that have built out their microhawks that they post in the forums will be giving away prizes. I haven't formally announced it, so get in on the ground floor. We'll give away more prizes to early adopters. But yeah, so I think that covers most of the Outcast Droneworks stuff. There's actually quite a bit. That's a lot of stuff, actually. Like, a lot of stuff in a 20-minute time span. I'm trying to think if there's anything personal that I want to talk about. How are you feeling, Skylar?
Feeling okay, with the global pandemic, keeping everyone under lock and key.
But how are you really
me
feeling?
Personally, not just America.
Yeah.
I feel okay,
No, but how do you really feel?
Oh, wow. I'm wearing my favorite t-shirt. I feel great.
No, deeper. How do you really feel?
Well, I feel my blood pumping. Feels like it's...
Deeper.
Okay, I don't know. My cellular structure is perfectly aligned. Is that deep enough for you?
No, deeper.
My soul is interconnected with all of the other souls on planet Earth, and with the trees and the birds.
Too deep.
Too deep. So somewhere between cellular structure and metaphysics. I'm in there somewhere. I'm feeling really good. Drone harder. Feel harder.
Corona Seltzer. We're not really sponsored by Corona Seltzer, but this is my first one of the night. I've had a very long week this week. And actually, on one last kind of Outcast note, I've been making myself available pretty much 24/7 to people via social media. Like, I get messages on my Facebook page, on Outcast Facebook page, on the Outcast Droneworks group, on my personal Instagram page, on my Facebook personal page, on the Outcast Droneworks Facebook page, on the website, on my email, on the Instagram for Outcast Droneworks. Like, like 7 or 8 platforms I've been getting questions on, and because of the availability that I have, I tend to be connected to the internet in some way almost all the time. And it's been burning me out a little bit. Like, I like being available to everybody that has a question and trying to get to them as quickly as possible, but Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays, my availability will be very limited. I'm going to try to answer questions maybe like once a day. And maybe not until Monday or Tuesday that I'll get back to answering questions. I just need to be able to have some me time. But, yeah. Why am I on this? I should be back on here. Why the heck was I stuck on that page? That was such a faux pas. So how are you really feeling?
Now that I'm full screen, I'm feeling larger than life. I can see my right arm I feel great. I feel so good.
But what about your left arm?
Well, fuck my left arm. Screw my left arm. You can't see it. It's doing all this cool stuff over here. You don't even know.
But yeah, and then another thing. So local pilots. If you're here in San Diego, I'm starting for the 3rd week in a row now. Saturdays at 6 p.m. Having a local fly-up meetup with local pilots, open to everybody. As long as you fly a drone, doesn't matter, FPV, line of sight, aerial photography, tiny whoop, 5-inch, X-class. It's pretty much just a general drone meetup. I'm going to be meeting up at Halo. I'm posting in the San Diego Drones meetup group. If you want information, I'll be posting there shortly with everything on how to go and hang out with me and other cool people in San Diego.
Be there.
Or be square. We may have seltzer. We may not.
We definitely will.
Don't drink and fly. We're not going to do that. It's for the after party. So mostly we hang out and talk versus actually fly. And speaking of being responsible and flying, I'm running for the Drone Advisory Committee for the FAA.
Vote Zoe 2020 FAA Advisory Board.
Yeah, so just like full up, I don't drink and fly. That's not something I do. And on the responsibility note, if you watch my last video on my channel, I'm putting my hat in the ring for the FAA's Drone Advisory Committee. I'm pretty excited about that, actually. It's going to be a fairly interesting challenge. There's really nobody on the Drone Advisory Committee that has, FPV experience, per se. And so I'm hoping to be a conduit and a voice for the community and start putting my money where my mouth is. I've been talking about issues regarding the airspace for quite a while, off and on. And I was one of the first people to talk about remote ID and all the other changes happening to the airspace when the FAA, created their first rules and pushed it through Congress a year and a half ago now. About a year and a half ago. So if you want to watch that video and find out how you can help me become part of the DAC, please do that. I'm pretty excited for it. And so far, every single comment in the Drone Advisory Committee website is in support of me. So I just want to say thank you guys that have voted for me and are pushing me through that. The corona was a horrible, segue into professionalism with the government stuff, but I'm a young gun. I'm probably going to be the youngest person there and one of the only female people on the thing. I'm the most open. I plan on making videos about the whole process of the DAC, my experiences with it, what's going on internally, and to be able to have an open dialogue with everybody that wants to be a part of the process and how, you can talk to me, tell me your thoughts about what's going on, and then hopefully I can start standing for our position as FPV pilots. And I might be only one voice in the room, but I'm hoping to be the loudest voice in the room, which is probably not going to make everyone so happy, but I plan to be diplomatic about it, professional about it, but still make sure that our points get across to the rest of the members. As Chris Fitz says, the hobby is massive. There's no representation. Yeah, there's pretty much no representation. The AMA is a part of it, but they're more focused on their line of sight flyers flying in the fields. They much rather have pilots relegated to a flying field where the AMA can make money off of us than have the skies open as they have been, and has pilots have flown safely for many years now. So And I might be part of the FPV Freedom Coalition, but I'm not doing it for the FPV Freedom Coalition. I didn't ask anyone's permission in the FPV Freedom Coalition. I didn't even tell them I was going to do it. This is something that I wanted to do after a couple people in the community poked me and said, hey, Zoe, you should run for the DAC. And I'm like, damn, that's a heavy thought. And then thought about it for a few days and you're like, you know what? Sure, I'm going to do it. I have some good qualifications. I've been part of the community for a long time. I did some really good stuff. And I understand the issues fairly well. So I think I'll be a good addition to the team. And then as XShit says, the AMA is more focused on the AMA than on the hobby. I agree. And thank you, XShit, for being in the chat. XShit, please make a video in support of me, please. I haven't asked you for anything, but I would really love it if you made a video talking about how I'm running for the DAC and how people can help me be a part of the DAC. I would super appreciate it, my friend. And if not, I still love you. Like, seriously, X-Show is one of the guys that really got me into FPV originally. I didn't know how to solder before I watched his channel. So, yeah. Either way. But yeah, I think we're getting on about 30 minutes now. I'm going to make this a quick and short podcast, especially as people are losing interest as I talk about rules and regulations regarding FPV. And stop talking about the cool tech stuff that I'm doing. But yeah, so Skylar's helping me. I'm hoping to film like 2 videos a week. On average, although probably more. I just got a beta excuse me. I just got a beta FPV 5-inch build behind me. Should be somewhere over there. And then also got a Tiny Hawk Freestyle setup, which I'm going to try to fly the Tiny Hawk Freestyle in 3D. So stay tuned for a future video where I make a tiny drone fly upside down. And then the 5-inch beta FPV build, basically it's like a 5-inch toothpick. It's pretty cool. I'm going to test that out, see how it flies. I think it's like a sub 250 5-inch as well. And then I'm going to, try to make it fly upside down as well, because that's what I do. I go upside down. I make my drones fly upside down. That's what I'm pegged at. If I don't do it, you guys like, Zoe, do you even fly 3D anymore? And I'm like, yeah, I fly 3D. Have you not watched my videos lately? And honestly, it's cool because there's a lot of rigs out there. People are like, how do I get into 3D? And some of them are going to work better than others. And so if I can start doing reviews on the rigs that people are actually flying and buying, then y'all have an idea of if it's even worth it, does it work, and would I recommend it, which I think is kind of cool. So stay tuned for those videos. Oh wow, XJet, I mentioned your run and linked to your video on my community tab already. Oh, thanks, XJet. Please make a video. Please. If not, again, no worries. I'm super stoked that you even mentioned me on your community tab. That's pretty awesome. I'm surprised you didn't see it. Like, no wonder why there's been a bump on things. Because I was like, why is there a sudden bump coming from? Because it started slowing down, and then it, spiked back up again. And that's why, because of XJet. So thank you, XJet. But yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me today. Again, next week's podcast, Thursday at 7 p.m. Not Friday, because I know a lot of you probably want to go watch Beers with Blockgrinder. I'm sorry, Blockgrinder. I was not planning to do it today. My cohort, Crystal, was like, Zoe, let's do the podcast. And then she wasn't feeling all that great yesterday. I was like, yeah, let's do it Friday. And then Friday, here we are, and she's also still not feeling great. So I was like, you know what? On with the show. Wanted to get something out for y'all.
Seltzers with Zoe.
Seltzers with Zoe.
Let's get that. Zeltzers with Zoe. Zeltzers with a Z.
Zeltzers, yeah. Zeltzers with Zoe.
Yeah.
This podcast is not infringing on anything related to Blockgrinder. Blockgrinder is an amazing pilot. Do not take this as anything other than that. Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I love your faces. Again, tune in next week on Thursday where I won't be overlapping with one of my favorite pilots, Blockgrinder. And we should hopefully have more attention. I honestly only posted that I was going to do a live stream like a few hours ago, and I only knew I was going to do it yesterday. So, we'll have more interesting content next time. I'm actually planning on doing like a little news segment with some videos, talk about what's going on in the community, some probably new product releases from other companies potentially, what's going on at Outcast Droneworks, and then hopefully we're actually going to get Crystal building her 5-inch quad and finishing it up on the next stream. So that should be pretty cool. But yeah.
Does that say zucchinis with Zoe?
Wait, what?
Zucchinis with Zoe?
Wait. Zucchinis with Zoe. I love you, actually. Anyways, guys, love your faces. See you next time. Bye!
Bye!